Hello, today we have John Parkin with us. He's the founder of the EFIT courses and series of books, and he's going to talk to us today about his latest book, which is EFIT, Be at Peace with Life Just As It Is. I'm not sure, when is it actually out in the UK, John?
It's out officially on June the 5th.
June the 5th, perfect. So, welcome John, hello.
Thank you, hello. Hi Claire.
I warn you all now that I've known John for quite a while, and so he might be slightly cheeky in this interview as opposed to some of our other interviewees.
Who are more respectful, aren't they? I am not going to be cheeky today. I'm really well behaved.
Are you?
Yeah, I've set up a little contraption to the side of my desk that will hit me with a stick if I'm rude or cheeky.
Well, I wished I had control of it.
No, you have. It's the escape key on your keyboard.
Right, I will try that.
Just press that if you need to slap me.
Okay, so let us talk a little bit about this latest book. It's the latest one in your EFIT series.
Yes.
How does it, for your fans and followers of your books, how does this one lead on from the previous books?
Are we allowed to say the full EFIT?
I don't think YouTube will allow us to say the full EFIT.
Oh, okay. So, am I allowed to say F then?
Yes.
Am I allowed to say it?
In context.
I'm being cheeky already, aren't I?
Escape.
Being guffy. Yeah, it's this book, which is Be at Peace with Life Just As It Is. It comes from an experiment I was doing last year, with being more peaceful. So I did a whole range of things, including doing a lot more meditation and doing more exercises around getting calm, to try and find more peace around some of the stuff that the kind of everyday life stuff. And it came out of that, and there was quite a few surprises in there as well. So in terms of the series of books, well, the books have kind of gone from around 10 years ago, which was EFIT, The Ultimate Spiritual Way, which was my kind of discovery of the EFIT thing, into a kind of deeper, with Gaia, we did a kind of deeper exploration of this thing, which is more therapeutic, which was EFIT therapy. And then a few years ago, about 3 years ago, I did EFIT, Do What You Love, which was more about finding things in your life that you love doing, stopping doing the stuff that you really hate, and often to do quite a bit of around jobs as well. Whereas this has gone, I suppose it's gone back a bit more to the original thing, which is more about just how we are.
Yeah. It felt that way to me when I read it, I have to say.
Yeah, did it?
Yeah.
Good.
Back to maybe the original ideas in a way.
Yeah.
Which was really good. The structure of the book is based on a sort of game of life, if you like, in the way that it's based on, so life and peace are a process that are on 3 sort of levels, without giving too much away to the readers, but it's sort of, you follow through a process, don't you? So how did you come up with this sort of rather novel approach to this one?
Well, it's interesting you say novel approach, because it is both the approach of a story and really not novel in any way at all. Because no, it isn't. And I'm not being cheeky here, because it's the 3-act structure. Yeah. It's the story structure. And even though I didn't intentionally cover up the skeleton of the structure of the book, it's not obvious in there what these, it talks about the 3 levels, as you know, and I don't think there's going to be no spoilers in here, and that I think we can quite happily talk about some of the stuff in the last act, in the last level, the 3rd level, because it's fine to do that. So it is the structures around the kind of the classic story structure, which is, from Joseph Campbell's kind of the hero's journey. The idea, because I've studied story structure, because I used to write fiction and used to write screenplays, so I'm very aware of it. Also got one of our sons who's really into film, so we're constantly, when we watch a film, we're constantly going, here's the end of Act 1, this is the moment, this is the all is lost moment, we're exactly halfway through the film, and then something happens, we go, have you seen that? What time is it? Oh yes, it's 20 minutes before the end of the film. So I'm really aware of this thing, and I love the story structure, because the idea of the classic 3-act thing is it's very kind of, it's archetypal. So it works for a story, and that we then, the story tends to appeal to us. There's a protagonist who wants something more than anything else in the world. They kind of they go from home and they decide to go on a journey, and they have a call to the journey, and so on. We'll talk a bit more about it in a moment if you want, but there's that thing. But the reason it's so appealing, and the reason it's in everything that we see in terms of stories, is that it's us. That's how we are. We want stuff, and we then go on a journey to find it, and then we face challenges, and then we learn things, and we become wiser. Then we tend to return home different, and so that's the structure behind it, and that's what these levels are about. Really, it mirrors that. So it kind of mirrors the hero's journey.
Yes.
And it allowed me to discover something that I don't think I expected at the beginning.
Which is?
Which is, well, that I thought it was a bit of a journey into peacefulness. About how, as a kind of, you see, I'm naturally not an effort person. I'm kind of come from generations of warriors, not warriors. People who worry a lot, and so I do worry about things, and I do get stressed about stuff. So effort has been really good for me over the years, and all the other things I do in meditation and qigong and things, and yoga and things like that.
Yeah.
So I thought this is a big journey into being more peaceful in myself, and right from the beginning, I realized there was something else about it, because I think so. Level 1 is about, as you know, level 1 of this thing, which is what most of us go through in our lives, is I'll be at peace when, and you can. There's lots of other things, when we realize what kind of thing we'd like in life, to be content, or to be at peace with ourselves and whatever. I'll be at peace when. So the whole of the first part of the book is that kind of, I'll be at peace when I get my exams. I'll be at peace when I get my first job. I'll be at peace when I find a partner. I'll be at peace when I've got my house. And it's like, I hear this and it's like, oh, it's crazy what we do. It's so crazy, but we all do it.
It does progress through life. It is from the exams to when I have, my health is better at the end.
Well, at the end, it's I'll be at peace when I die. Actually, So I tell the story right from childhood into all the way through life. I'll be at peace when I'm retired. Yes, I'll be at peace when I've sorted this thing out. I'll be at peace when I've on the operation, and yes, I'll be at peace when I'm dead. Because, some of us, I suppose, I expect that so often people are ready and or stressed, and they'll feel at peace. So yes, it's that's the level 1, and so level 2 is what I thought this was going to be about. So level 2 is the realization. So from going like, I'm going to be okay when, which is what we all do.
Yes.
We humans, even enlightened people like us, Claire, we we still do this thing. I mean, I do it all the time still. It's like, oh, I'll feel better when, I'll be okay when, and then you get it. You get a momentary relief, don't you? It's like, oh, thank goodness that's resolved. Thank goodness that's sorted out. And then it's the other one then kicks in straight away. And
there are moments when you're reading it when I think, oh no, he's spotted me. He's
yeah.
That's me.
Well, it's awful. I mean, it's awful, isn't it? It's dreadful, really. It's awful that we do it, and yet we know we do it. And I mean, from the book that I have the most extreme example of this, because I occasionally eat. I'm very allergic to nuts, in particular, nuts and fish.
Yeah.
In the way that they can kill me if I eat enough of them.
Seriously allergic.
Yeah, seriously allergic, and so I occasionally have an inadvertent episode. Every 3 or 4 years, I eat something that I'd asked in the restaurant, etc., but it's got nuts in it or fish in it, and so I then go through. I haven't had a really serious episode for a long time, but I then have to go through the thing of starting to get reactions in my body. So it's the start of an anaphylactic shock that could end in me being in hospital and being, as I say, regenerated. I'm not the bionic man. Resuscitated, and clearly there's a risk of dying from it. And but generally speaking, what happens is I go through these symptoms. So bits of, I get lumps on my body. I get, I don't really, the throat's okay, but I feel sick. I get very bad stomachache. I feel sick. And these progress over a few hours because it only really hits its peak after about 5 hours. So I don't know as these symptoms are rising, whether this is going to be the big one or whether it's going to kind of rise and then drift back down. It usually does that. I get the symptoms, then it kind of calms down and I have to stay calm. But what I get is this thing. It's like, I'm usually in the middle of some concern and stress about something. I'm traveling, doing this and that, worried about the talk I've got to do the next day or whatever it is. And then I get this kind of moment of like, oh my goodness, I could die. And so I go, oh, what have I been? And it's that thing, because it's that perspective moment. It's like, what have I been worrying about?
Yes.
Why am I concerned? I'm like, what a great life I have. Why am I concerned about that? What am I doing? It's like, and it's like I do a little pact with it's like the pact you do with God.
Yes.
Given I'm not talking to God, but it's a pact with myself and my life, which is, if I get through this, if I'm alive tomorrow, I will just remember this.
I
and just
promise.
realize. Sorry?
I promise.
Yeah, I promise just to kind of keep things in perspective and enjoy everything as it is and not worry about all this stuff I worry about. Because really, and I recognize that even if there's some serious stuff going on, I realize that it's relatively small compared to the big things and compared to me shuffling off this mortal coil. So I do this thing. And invariably 3 hours later, I realize I'm okay. And I kind of go, and I have a beautiful period of relief and relaxation and kind of, this is what a beautiful message. What a beautiful lesson I've had today. It's just wonderful. And I just feel great. And I'm in love with everything and everyone and life as it is.
How long does it last?
Well, it lasts anywhere between an hour and maybe, I don't know, a couple of days.
That's quite a serious thing to go through for just an hour.
It is. Well, there's little remnants of it little ripples of it that go out. But generally speaking, I will then start to worry about something else. And things kick in. It's a little bit like when you've done something really good and you congratulate, you kind of, wow, it's fantastic. Finally achieved, finally got and I enjoy it for about 5 minutes. Then I'm bang on to the next thing. What's next? Yeah.
Because the chapter on success, that did really resonate with me. I mean, how long do you celebrate it for? How long are you happy with it for?
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting.
We should sit in that for a long time, shouldn't we? And enjoy it. But we don't, because we're kind of, maybe it's an evolution thing, but we seem to be programmed and built to kind of keep going. Yeah.
It's interesting what you say about the worry, because it seemed to me that although the book is ostensibly about finding peace, largely the central tenet of it is about worrying or caring less.
Yes, it is. It is, and that's the kind of into the level 3 thing, really, isn't it? It is, and that's why it works so well with effort, because the unique thing about effort, as we've been exploring it since 2004, so a long time really, is that it has this inherent thing in it about when you say effort to something, you're implicitly saying that thing is mattering. It's too heavy for me. It's mattering too much, and you're implicitly saying, in the end, it doesn't matter so much. So it's that perspective moment, isn't it, when you say effort? And I think it's quite unique in the language. I mean, it has the kind of the neuroscientists and various scientists have showed how the F word has an effect on the body and the mind, and even that we say a swear word from a different part of the brain. normal language comes from the left hemisphere, and when we swear, it comes from the right hemisphere, which I could talk for ages about that because I love it. But it has an effect. Saying the F word, any swear words actually, but saying F it in particular has that thing of it's my having had the allergy scare. It's that in a little bit every time. So and it's a great kind of, it's like I don't know what the word is. It's like a balancing mechanism. So as I start to feel the pain from some stress, some worry about something, and then I say F it, I kind of come in like that, and it kind of then brings it down, and then it starts. It's back to front on this video, so I'm struggling to know which arm is mine. I can't
I'll zap you.
I won't do an exercise like this again because it's almost impossible to tell what I'm doing. Do you see?
Yeah.
It's very difficult. Put your left arm up. Yeah.
That's right to you, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It is. I thought you were going to get the wrong one then. You're cleverer than me.
I'm ahead of you, Parkin.
You are.
I had to read the book quite quickly in order to read it before we did our interview. So maybe I didn't, maybe this comment is unfair, but it seemed to me that some of the ideas in this book are quite paradoxical.
Yes.
And you really have to, I had to reread some things to get it. Do you think it is your most complex book yet?
No, I think it's actually the simplest book.
The simplest, so it's me.
And it's the most paradoxical. No, you're absolutely right. It's not unfair at all. I think it's a key point of the whole thing. It's simplest in that once you get it, it's really easy and really obvious, like most big messages and big ideas. But if you don't get it, it's really difficult. And I tell you what, shall I explain a little bit why I think
yes, please.
Why it's like this and why I think why you're right that it's paradoxical. And what I do in the book is I talk about two hands, don't I? On the one hand, you are, but I can't do this because every time I put a hand up, it freaks me out because it's the wrong hand.
I'll do it for you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. When you put your left hand. Just to kind of go over the structure again. So level 1, which is act, and I talk about the acts as well. So level 1 is I'll be at peace when, I'll be okay when. Which in a story, let's call it a story, but I like film, so any film that I see, it's like this. The first act, the first 20 minutes is about being at home and going through the normal stuff and realizing that things aren't right, you're not happy or you want this more, and so there's a call to a journey. So you go on a journey, and the journey in this, which is level 2, is the inner journey. So I realize that I'm constantly putting off my own happiness or being at peace. And so the realization for level 2 is amazing, which is I can be at peace now. I can be peaceful now. And that's what Act 2 is. That's when you go on a journey. And then you face challenges. But you go on a journey. And the first part of the second act in a film, which is from about 20 minutes, half an hour, to halfway through the film, is usually quite a nice time. The characters left home, they're on a journey, it's sweet, they've got adventures, it's good, they've got friends, they've got allies, there's new things, there's new stuff. And that in the book is about how I'm basically teaching people how to relax, aren't I? And how to be peaceful. And I talk about the ways that I use that. And I found a couple of, one in particular, really powerful way to meditate, which really works for me and has worked for quite a lot of people now that I've taught it to. And I talk about things like gratitude for being more peaceful. So these things work for making you calmer and more peaceful. And I use them every day. But you get to a point halfway through a film and halfway through a story, which is actually halfway through that second level, when you say, I'm at peace now, but then there's always something that brings me out of it.
That's when the menacing music comes in.
It is, yeah. It is, and it's a nasty moment. It's a big challenge, and it's something that's hard to get over for the main character, and it's hard to get over for us. I feel really peaceful, and then I get a big bill in, and I feel really peaceful, then I get a diagnosis for, I get a symptom for something, and they really take you out. It's like, how can I be at peace? How can I be peaceful when there's this thing? And so the journey through that second level is like trying to stay calm or to be calm after and keeping going.
Yeah.
And not just going back to your old life, which is, oh, that's what it's like then. I'll be, at least when I'm better, I'll go back to level 1, basically.
Yeah.
Which in a story you could do. I mean, they don't do because they want to finish the film. But a lot of people in life, when they do the journey and the inner journey, they will get catapulted back to level 1. So there's people that go away on their journey, but then end up back in their ordinary life.
Mm.
You must know, Claire, it's like lots of people who embark on a spiritual journey or in a journey, or a therapeutic journey, get freaked out at a certain point, and kind of pull back a bit to kind of, oh, well, I tried that, but this is life. This is my life.
Yes.
So anyway.
Nothing works for me.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So there's, and the spirit, for most people, this kind of spiritual journey is the level 2 that I'm talking about. It's the attempt to stay calm. It's the attempt to be at peace. This is the dualistic model. It's there's the kind of stressed me, and there's the peaceful me, and there's the bad world, and there's the good world. There's the not me, and there's the the spiritual me. This is where we separate everything. And most religions do it, most philosophers do it, and most of us do it, even if we're really spiritual and really into the stuff.
Yep.
Most yoga teachers want to be like this all the time, and happy and peaceful. But there is the level 3 for a reason, and there's the act 3 in a book for a reason, because at the end of act 2 in a story or in a film, which is about, well, the biggest challenge comes about 20 minutes to half an hour before the end of the film, and they have to overcome this, and it's called the all is lost moment in a story, and it's usually set in a confined space, like in a cave, like where you're very trapped, and it looks like you're going to die or you're not going to get what you want. And this exists in almost every story there is, and then the character has to come out of this in order, they have to survive and get over it in order to get through to the end. And then the last part of any story usually is in some way going home. You kind of go back to the Shire in the Lord of the Rings. Start in the Shire, you go on a journey, you go back to the Shire.
Lord of the Rings has been playing through my head the whole time.
That's it. It's interesting. It's interesting you say it, because I just taught at the weekend, and I wanted to use the Lord of the Rings as the story, because I get the feeling this would really work to talk about it. It's just that I don't like Lord of the Rings, and so I have to get over that thing, watch it again, and then use it as an example, because it's an example that most people would know, I think.
Yeah, and it's the most obvious analogy. Those key moments are very obvious in Lord of the Rings.
It's true, and it's a good versus evil story as well. So that would be good for the second level. And I actually can't tell you how it works in Lord of the Rings for the last act, for the last part of the film. But generally speaking, most protagonists in a story will end up going back home to ordinary life, to life as it was, but changed. Okay, and the way that
there have to be some sort of redemptive quality to this third act.
There has to be something in them. Usually, the fact that they've understood something, not about their want, because their want was to find the girl or boy, or to whatever they do with the ring, to put the ring in Mordor, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But they have to then understand the need underneath, finally, that they hadn't understood at the beginning. That is different from the desire in Act 1 and Act 2.
Right.
So yes, it's usually a redemptive quality. It's an understand. They get it through a ghost. It's called a ghost, a character that or episode that allows them to understand a need rather than a desire, and a deep need. And but so yeah, we're going back in Act 3 and the third level to ordinary life. And so the point of level 3 is that it's life. Level 2 is kind of, I imagine if I meditate enough, it'll be like a kind of monk, and I'm gonna get calmer and more peaceful. I'll be really sweet to people. I won't be as stressed. I won't be angry. That's the kind of dualistic thing of level 2 that I still have. I still want to be a nice person, but I'm generally a nice person, as you know. But in level 3, the idea is, after going through there's always something. And still going through the fact that I'd like to be calmer today. Level 3 is about this, really. It's life as it is, which is its ups and its downs, and me as I am, which is me being nice and me being not so nice, and me being stressed, and me being and calm, that's life as it is. But the new knowledge, the bit I've taken from the journey that I've gone on, is that actually the at peace bit doesn't mean just being at peace now because I'm calm. It means being at peace with the whole lot. So it's like a bigger feeling, which to me, I don't know. I don't really want to talk much about enlightenment, but that to me is enlightenment. It's and it's a God view of this. The idea that an all accepting quality. Most religions and spiritualities and philosophies talk about this same thing when they're good. this deep acceptance of it, and acceptance is a hard thing to talk about, and we might get into trouble if we talk about it too much. But this is what level 3 is about. What acceptance is really about, and acceptance for me in this is at peace. And excuse the sounds in the background because I'm in an office.
It's okay.
We need to be at peace with that.
Yes. Yes, it really, a lot of people on their spiritual journey will be aiming for level 2.
Yeah.
Not necessarily realizing that this level 3 is available to all of us.
That's right. And I think mainly we have to go through it chronologically.
Yeah.
I do think we have to go through some of the search. I mean, it's, and I say chronologically and then completely out of order, in that even when we realize that everything can be okay as it is, that I can be okay as I am in level 3. So when we get those moments of insight, if that feels true to people, it certainly feels true to me, we still then move around. So I am in the level 1 a lot, which is, well, I'll be fine when. And I'm in level 2 a lot, which is, I feel calmer. And that's where our paradox pops up, isn't it? The paradox is, on the one hand, of course, I'd like to be a more mature person. I'd like to be a nicer person. I'd like to be a calmer person. Of course, I'd like to be, I don't know, thinner.
Whatever.
A variety of things I'd like to be. And it's a great thing to do the things that get me to that. So I need to eat less food in order to be thinner. And I need to practice in order to be calmer. And that's natural. That's level 1 to level 2. Level 2, that's great. And I'm not going to stop that stuff, and I don't think I should either. However, if I'm entirely in this, it's quite painful, because it's always a process of movement into it and movement out of it, and also a kind of stress around it. If there's a gap often between where I am and where I'd like to be, that is tension.
That's tension, yes.
Yeah, and you can calm that tension by trying to get there. So me losing some weight or being calmer, by closing the gap, in other words. But the gap closes and then it opens again all the time, like a kind of concertina effect. So the other hand is this, which is how can everything is fine as it is. Everything's okay. I don't need to change a thing. You don't need to change a thing. We're beautiful as we are. Every part of me is beautiful, not just the bits that other people think are beautiful or I think are beautiful and I accept, but every single part of me. And actually life's fine as it is in every part, not just the bits I like and that I approve of. And that, of course, appears to be paradoxical. It has to be, because in life, there's lots of bits I don't like and I want to change, and I don't like what Trump has been doing here and there, or they've been doing here, and I don't like the way that it's going in the government. And you go on like that, don't you? I want to change it. I want that to be different. I want me to be different. I want to be calmer. And it's quite like that. And then you calm down and you accept a little bit, but then it comes back in again. Well, this is different. Paradoxical, different, but they can exist at the same time.
Yes.
And the last thing I'll say about this thing here, which is, kind of accepting everything's okay, is that there's a part of our brain, that's sensing this all the time. And no matter how mad we're going about not accepting and not enjoying and being scared and worried and everything that we are, there's a part of our brain that all the time is in touch with this truth that everything is fine as it is, I think.
So when you get it, I believe I have on occasion had it, but fleetingly, it's a sort of recognition. It's not as though it's a revelation, it's a recognition that this is how it can be.
That's right. Well, it's a recognition that this is how it is, I
How it
think,
is.
actually.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure, Claire, you're being, I'm sure you have it a lot, this sense. And the great thing is, this is what I like about it. It's not that if we just go back to wanting that sense, that's kind of level 2.
Yes.
And this is the kind of slightly difficult thing to get, I think. That what appears after, well, hopefully after you've read the book, but when we understand this thing about level 3, what's great is we can be in the other stuff, but there's still a kind of gentle awareness that that's there all the time. There's a kind of background thing, and what helps me with this, and also to explain it, is to explain that there really is a part of the brain that's doing that all the time, and that's Jill Bolt Taylor and the Stroke of Insight. Her work and her book are really good for understanding that. She was the neuroscientist who had a stroke, and she discovered that there is this part of the brain, of her brain, that's immensely at peace and connected and okay, and it's there all the time, and all we do with the other stuff is cover it up.
Yeah.
So all we have to do is calm down the other stuff, and that appears. But then again, we're shifting a little bit back to level 2 because we're trying to get that sense of peace. But it's there all the time. That's the thing, and that to me is immensely reassuring.
Yeah. Well, I found the book immensely comforting, actually.
Yeah. Good.
Slightly challenging. I had to kind of read and reread, and I think part of that was because I was trying to do it in a condensed time.
Yes.
I'd like to have had more time, and I will go back to it and read it again at leisure.
Well, I'm glad you felt that sense of comfort, and I actually do myself. I mean, it's not that I go around reading my own books, but I do.
They're really good.
Yeah, they are good, but I still don't tend to read them. But I have to, because of the process of writing and then editing and then checking, and then even if I do an interview or something, I will look at it. So that process is, I find exactly the same thing. It puts me back in touch with that sense of the comforting thing, which is, and it's just a reminder. This is what these things, they're a reminder. But what I hope that we get to understanding that third part of it, the third level, is that this lovely thing that when we're out of it, when we're out of the awareness that everything's okay, when we're in the either level 1, level 2, which is the I'll be okay when, or I feel so calm thing, it's all the same. This is the idea. It's all the same. So it's the same if I'm stressed as it is if I'm relaxed. It's the same if I'm nasty as if I'm kind. And that's the embracing of the thing. And the best way for me to understand it as well, for people, I think people to understand it, is imagining an ideal parent or ideal parenting. And I'm sure we're both very good parents, Claire, but we're probably not ideal all of the time.
Maybe not.
And an ideal parent loves unconditionally and accepts the whole thing. And so I imagine the bits of me that are whatever they are, that one might not normally like. Stressed, unkind, worrying, nasty, whatever thoughts I might have. I imagine how an ideal parent would be with a small child, thinking those things or doing those things, being, aggressive or angry or stressed or whatever it is, and you just want to hold them and say it's okay. And that's the sense for me of this thing. It's all embracing. And it's a kind of, it's okay as it is. And that's how people sometimes have the view of a benign God. I think that's how a lot of, I know Christians more than any other religion, I suppose, might have a sense of Jesus or God kind of holding them and embracing them, and things are all right. There's then all this funny stuff around sin. But even in Christianity, there is stuff around kind of, forgiveness in advance. You're kind of forgiven in advance for all the stuff that you might do, which is kind of getting there to a similar area.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing I should get across to the readers, because it sounds like, I encourage you to read this book. You will get a great deal from it. I'm making it sound like it's a hard read. It really isn't. It's very humorous. There's a lot of you in it. There's a lot of humour in there. So I think you'll enjoy it. And although there's this paradoxical themes in there, when you get it, it really is worthwhile, and it is very simple, as you say.
Thank you.
Are you pleased with the book, John?
I am, and I am in that and I think you're right. I think it's easy to read in that it's a light read, and I'll keep you entertained as you read it.
Yes, very much.
And yeah, giggling even when I'm talking about very serious things. But it is, of course, and just to go back to the journey of the protagonist has to leave home and go on a journey that can be sweet at times, but it's not always easy. And it faces its challenges. And to go to the last level, the last act, they have to face a time when they think all is lost, when they could die. Now, there's not a potential for people to die whilst reading the book to get to the end of the book.
Not that boring.
No. But this is clearly challenging to really get to the heart of this. And I love the thing that it is, and I've heard a lot of teachers and gurus over the years talk about a similar thing, that when the understanding, when you get those moments of understanding, and we all do, enlightenment isn't from one thing to a state that lasts forever. Enlightenment is moments where things are clear, where there's moments of kind of, I see it. And it can be really everyday, the kind of real basic everyday stuff. Yeah. That can be, that thing is really easy, and suddenly you kind of go, oh God, what, it's like that? Oh wow. So then it's easy, it's simple, and it's just going to happen. And I talk about this in the book, don't I? Where this thing, the understanding can happen in many different ways. You can be sitting around one day and then it's clearer, or you can go through it chronologically and do lots of practice and then kind of finally realize. Yes, the main thing for me is to kind of to keep people entertained, or at least feeling the lightness of it, because in the end this is a beautiful, comforting and light-hearted message. I mean, it's incredible, really. I mean, it's right, and this comes back from the Julian of Norwich, who's the Christian mystic, the first female writer in the English language, they think, who said, however she said it, all should be well, all will be well, and all should be well, and all should. Well, that's the message she had from being very, very sick. She came back from nearly dying. Her greatest insight was, it's fine as it is. Everything's fine. And then everything's fine as it is. It's fine. And then she says it again. It's fine. That's what she wanted to say. And it's kind of what I want to say, not just to people, but to myself all the time. That's the comforting message. It's fine. It's okay. It's going to work out. It's fine. It's just beautiful. It's not just fine. It's beautiful as it is. Even the messy stuff, it's lovely. It's beautiful. It's fine.
It's fine.
And so there is that part of our brain doing it all the time, and we can start to say it all the time. But then I'm still going to forget it. Oh my God! Today I've got to do that. What if that happens? What if this happens? And it talks like that in that voice as well. It's fine.
And that's fine too.
Yeah, that is. That's it.
So the book, F it. Be at peace with life just as it is. Yeah. Out beginning of June in the UK. And still doing the courses, still doing the weekends?
We are. We do some weekends in the UK, in London and Brighton. Got one in Brighton in August, and we do retreats in Italy, 5 or 6, 7 a year. In lovely places here. And by the way, I've got normal glasses on here because I'm looking out at sunshine. It looks like I've got sunglasses on, but
you're just so rock and roll.
Yeah. It's quite sunny outside.
Okay, well, John, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. Really enjoyed our chat. The book is great. I encourage people to go and read it. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Claire. It's been lovely to talk, and I hope the readers, listeners enjoy the book. Thank you.
Thank you.